I took a stroll on the old long walk.
Yes, I can't wait. Being part Irish myself, I'm excited about this time of year. Greg Mudge, owner of Mudgie's Deli, is here in the Fox Tube kitchen. Good morning, sir. How are you?
How are you? Cheers.
Where's your green? You're all in black.
I'm all in black today. What's green here?
It's because he has a secret recipe for corned beef, and he wanted to stealthily get in the building without anybody seeing it.
Yes, nobody saw it.
So we are going to make corned beef this morning.
Yes, absolutely.
As opposed to just buying it already pre-seasoned in one of those sealed bags?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you buy the right corned beef, you actually could buy it and not actually even season it like these ones here. You could literally put a little bit of water in this pot, in this pan, and you could roast it, and it will taste good. Seiginsberg makes probably the best corned beef in the country, if you ask me.
Really? And what's the brand again?
That's Seiginsberg. He's located in the southwest side of Detroit, just north of Michigan Avenue in Vinewood.
Well, anyway, corned beef brisket. They always says brisket, but brisket somehow always gets left off. All right, so we start with this?
Yeah, and when choosing the brisket, I prefer to go with the whole brisket rather than going with just the half. You get the best of both worlds. The flat's a little fattier, and the point of it is actually the leaner part. So if you like leaner corned beef, you could go with just buying the flat if you like that. But I like to buy both so that when you actually roast it, you're actually getting the best of both worlds, and all the fat is actually melting and seasoning the corned beef as you go.
Well, let's race through these ingredients here.
This first ingredient here, it's just a garlic and red pepper puree that we did, and we're just going to put that on there, spread it around.
Oh yeah.
And these cooking corned beef is very simple. A lot of people think that you should actually boil the corned beef, and I disagree with that.
What do you do instead of boiling?
We're going to roast it today.
Roast? Okay.
Yeah, and that way you're steaming it rather than boiling away all the flavor, cooking the outside and the inside rather than just the outside.
All right.
This is just some mustard seed, just a lighter mustard seed. You could use the dark if you prefer. That's another thing with cooking too. The recipes are just guidelines. You can do whatever you'd like.
That's good.
Have fun with it. No reason to be.
Next?
Not just a little bit of roasted red pepper seeds. Just gonna sprinkle those on top of there.
This is getting better by the minute.
And then we've got some black pepper here. If you wanted to, you could use ground pepper, whatever you'd like.
That's looking great on camera. Look at that. Wow.
Just gonna sprinkle that on top.
Sprinkle. you dusted that.
I kind of like pepper a lot. So, and then we've just had some cloves here, and I just use a few. I don't like to use too many of them. Don't want to overpower.
Overpower.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Right.
They're very powerful. So then we have a little bit of ground allspice, and when putting this in the pot, I don't ever put this on the meat itself. I think it's too much to actually put it on the meat for flavor.
Tip.
So we just sprinkle some of that in on the sides here.
Okay, and then
we've
onion.
got some chopped onions, and if you wanted to add carrots to this, or if you wanted to add something like celery or anything like that, that wouldn't be a problem either. Like I said, just have fun with what you're doing. It doesn't really matter in the end as long as it tastes good.
All right, I'm going to carry this over to the oven. Right?
Well, no, not yet. We have to add a little bit of water at the bottom. You don't want to cover the corned beef in water, but you do want to put some at the bottom of the pan. And you don't want to fill it too much because when you put the water in, the corned beef is actually pumped with water. So it's going to lose a lot of that water weight, and it's going to shrink down, and all that water is actually going to happen into the pan. So then what you'd want to do is you'd want to cover this up with some foil.
And this recipe is on our website, myfoxdetroit.com, so all these instructions and ingredients and everything are right there.
Walk it over to the oven?
All right, so now we'll do this. They're like, oh, look at this. We have the most powerful oven in the world at Fox 2. It cooks in just mere seconds.
Mere seconds.
The magic of TV.
Wow, how did that happen?
Pull that one out of the oven, and that's what it's going to look like when it's done.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
And then you'd want to pull that out of the water, and you'd want to let it sit on a board. You always want to let your meat sit for a minute so that all the juices soak back into the meat, and then you would slice it however you'd like. Some people like their corned beef sliced very thin, some like it very thick, whatever you prefer. And then what we do with it, and we make, we're at a deli, so we make sandwiches.
I'm going to grab that so we can see that on camera real quick.
These are a couple of our corned beef sandwiches that we make down at our deli. It's in Corktown on the southwest side, and
those are supposed to feed one person?
Those are man-sized sandwiches.
Well, yes, absolutely.
There you see the address. We want to mention that Sunday's St. Patrick's Day parade, you will be open for that.
Yeah,
probably
we'll be
packed
open.
to the gills.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a madhouse down there in St. Patrick's Day. Corktown does a great job putting on the parade, and everybody has a great time. It's a huge party.
Now, technically, is this a Reuben or just a corned beef sandwich?
It's kind of a twist on a Reuben. It has coleslaw Thousand Island, which we make that in-house, and instead of the Reuben, which normally would have sauerkraut. So.
Is it yummy?
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you're done with cooking the corned beef too, I mean, if you wanted to add like cabbage on the side or whatever, a little bit of bacon in it or something like that, a more traditional Irish dish,
Bacon, right? Bacon and cabbage.
Bacon and cabbage is the more traditional dish, not corned beef and cabbage like the myths all have said with St. Patrick's Day. So.
That perked Jason right up. Bacon.
I make my cabbage with bacon and serve it with the corned
Right,
beef.
and that's how that it used to be done in Ireland. It was actually bacon and cabbage instead. It was like salted pork rather than salted beef. But when people came over here, beef was more readily available, so they started using beef. So it's more of an Irish-American thing than traditional Irish.
All right, there's some history in the kitchen there too. Thanks, Greg, for joining us this morning.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go eat.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.